Hi everyone, this is Ruby Blow of Development Counts. It's Tuesday, so that means I'm working on this week's blog. And this week, one of the themes that's been coming up really the past couple of weeks has to do with a couple of things. I think the main theme has to do with respect. Hi, looks like somebody has joined me. If you don't mind, can you type a message? Let me know if you can hear me or not. Okay, sounds like maybe not. Anyway, just trying to make sure I've got audio here because sometimes I have a little audio trouble. So what I want to talk a little bit about has to do with respect. And to start off, I want to share a little piece that I love from this writer, my favorite poet. Hey there. My favorite poet, her name is Oriah Mountain Dreamer. And this is what she says in her poem, The Invitation. She says, "It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy." Thank you. I'm glad you guys can hear me. So that was from Oriah Mountain Dreamer from her poem, The Invitation, which I actually share quite a bit with colleagues or even with clients. And one of the reasons why I like it is because I think we have a lot of ideas in our culture around loyalty, and sometimes loyalty at all costs, loyalty to other people, so much so that we forsake ourselves. And then we actually become untrustworthy because we begin lying to ourselves and lying to other people to maintain what can sometimes feel like a really fragile tie, which is a relationship of some sort, whether it's a friendship, a romantic love relationship, a work relationship. So what happens is sometimes in order to be liked, we say yes when we should be saying no, or we withhold something that's true because we don't want to experience a loss. And one of the reasons why I'm thinking about this week is I have a couple of people that I work with, colleagues that I supervise, who are overwhelmed in their work. And that happens, you know, for entrepreneurs all the time, but it happens also a lot for people who work for others. And one of the reasons is because they don't want to say no to the increasing demands, sometimes taking on roles that were not their roles to begin with. In this particular case, I'm thinking about a school counselor who's being asked by one of the assistant principals to take on a very large task that is supposed to be the assistant principal's task. And the reason that my colleague is not saying no is because of being fearful of retaliation. So instead, this person is becoming more and more depleted, more and more disconnected from self, more anxious, more overwrought, and even I would say some health consequences as a result, like feeling ragged and feeling tired and succumbing to seasonal allergies, which, you know, we're all have the potential to deal with those things. I deal with some of those things, but I think in this case, it's a fraying of one's personal boundaries that allow a lot of the negative intentions and energy and negative work ethic of others to be foisted upon her individual self. And as a result of not setting a limit, and as a result of not saying no, and a result of wanting to be liked, hi Pam, and as a result of not wanting to not seem like a team player, taking on more and more and more. And then unfortunately what happens to some folks is they eventually break. So what I want to say about being respected versus being liked versus being loved is that the most important thing is that you respect, like, and love yourself. Whenever you are trying to maintain being respected and liked and loved by someone else over what your own actual needs and boundaries are, you're ultimately going to lose everything that you're trying to seek anyway. If you try to become more of what someone else wants because that's the way that they want it, but it's not true for you, you're going to lose the relationship anyway. If you try to do more and more and more work that someone else's work to do, Eventually they're going to resent you, because ultimately they disrespect you. And when people don't respect you and resent you, eventually they're not going to want you around. So you're going to lose the job anyway. And if you don't lose the job, you'll lose yourself. So what good is it to have a job if you don't have you? And what good is it to have a relationship if you don't have yourself? It's critically important to not forsake your own identity because you fear loss, because the beginning of that fear is where you begin to lose yourself. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that you're never going to, second guess yourself. Should I have done this for this person that they asked me to do? It seemed really important to them, etc. You're a human being. But I challenge you to begin to set a limit, to get comfortable with saying no, to get comfortable with forsaking someone else or betraying someone else so that you can be true to yourself. Because if there's no you, there's not a person for someone else to be in a relationship or for someone to hire for a position. You have to be an intact self in order to have any real fulfillment. And so don't think being long-term at a job or being long-term in a relationship or being long-term in any particular situation means that that person is happy or fulfilled or that they are doing well or that it's good or that being married 30 years is an accomplishment per se. It could be that those folks are really accomplished at subsiding themselves and of putting themselves underground so that they can forsake themselves for what everyone else wants, right? Or to be at a position for 20 years and for 20 years, like set aside your dreams and goals and your true identity for fear of leaving or of disappointing someone else. Now, if you have responsibilities, I'm not saying don't attend to your responsibilities. What I'm saying is that you need to sometimes walk in faith that a responsibility that you have that's greater than everything else is a responsibility to yourself, and that when you follow that, everything else will line up, because it's really a matter of integrity. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be writing about in this week's blog post. One of the things that I've been reflecting on is how some of us are really trying so hard to not disappoint other people, that we lose our identity. And I see this happening helping professionals and service professionals all of the time. And it's really vital to continue to be able to do your work or your mission or your purpose in the world, to not wind up hating what you once loved because you've given too much of yourself to it. Okay, so if you are not following my blog post, you can sign up for it at developmentcounts.com. It's the weekly e-blast. You can also follow me on YouTube, but if you're already following me on Facebook, that's even better. And if you are looking forward to coming to any of my live events, I still have them each month. Right now I'm focused on supervision, but I'm planning stuff for next year. And you can check all of that out at developmentcounts.com. Okay, take care everyone. Bye.